the Face to Face. I'm your host, Genevieve Kyle-Lefebvre. Face to Face is a bilingual series of videos recording in Coquitlam. We acknowledge that Coquitlam is located on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Coquitlam. We thank the Coquitlam people who continue to live on these lands and care for them, along with the waters and all that is above and below. Today, I have with me on the Face-to-Face Gregory Ould. Gregory is the co-founder of Blanket BC. Welcome, Gregory.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Gregory, before we start, I want to ask you right away, is Blanket BC stands for British Columbia or something else?
That's a question I get often quite. So the BC in Blanket BC, for your viewers out there, is basically it stands for not just British Columbia, but it actually means beautiful communities. By giving the warmth from your heart, which is our motto, you create a beautiful community. If you give volunteer service, if you give up your time, you create a beautiful community. It's all about giving back to the community in any way you can.
Oh, I love it. Now let's talk about Blanket BC.
Sure.
Tell me about your mission and how everything started.
Well, we are getting into the fall and winter season.
Yes.
And back in, October 15th, 2005, I was coming out of a movie theater in Tinseltown in downtown Vancouver. And just so you know, for all your viewers out there, I was living in Coquitlam. I'm a longtime Coquitlam resident. I now live in Richmond with my lovely wife, Famika, and our daughter, Zoe. But back in the day, I was a Coquitlam boy, went to Centennial, and before that, Kuma Lake. And anyway, I was coming out of a movie theater, and it was a kind of a cold night. It wasn't too cold, but if you were wearing a jacket, you didn't think much of it. And I saw this man in an alcove, and our eyes met. And he was weathered, you could say. He kind of looked like he was in his late 50s or early 60s, but I think he was actually in his early 40s, maybe late 30s.
Okay.
He was very weathered. And so I went up to him, and he locked eyes, and I don't know, my heart went out to him, and I says, is there anything I could actually do to help you? Thinking he was going to ask for money, coffee, food, cigarettes, drugs, I don't know. What he said to me has changed my entire being. He simply said I could use a blanket to survive the night. Mm-hmm. Well, what do you say to somebody like that? No.
So what did you do? Did you go get a blanket?
As a matter of fact, I did. I realized around the corner there was an Army and Navy, which is now defunct. And they were just closing up, and I was banging on the door just as the lady was putting the chains on the door, and I just said to her, I said, please let me in. I really need a blanket for somebody. And she saw that there was something serious going on. So she opened it up, and I went to the till, and I got this gentleman a blanket. But it wasn't until I went up to him, and as I approached and I gave him the blanket, there were no words exchanged that I could ever recall. I just remember his look of awe, like someone had listened to him and took action upon his request, probably for the first time in a very long time. And so I went home, feeling good about myself, but something was bothering me. I went home, and my son was up, and I just remember playing with my son, Ben. He was 2 years old. And in a conversation I was having with him, I kept going back to what had taken place earlier in the day. And I said to my son, I said, Ben, wouldn't it be cool if you and I went around kind of like Batman and Robin, where instead of fighting crime and bad guys, we're fighting the cold, we're fighting loneliness, we're providing warmth from our hearts. Mm-hmm. Why don't we do that together? And he turned to me, and he stopped what he was doing, and he went, yeah. And then he went right back to playing again.
How old was he at that time?
22 months old. Now, I know a lot of people laugh at that, okay? And I want your viewers out there to have a conversation with your kid, okay? Not like a baby conversation. Have a conversation with your kid. You will be shocked as to what they know, and they know what you're talking about a lot of times. At least they can feel it, if not quite understand it. And that was what I got from that conversation with Ben. And the very next day, we started collecting blankets. Now, I was working at Bell. Not a shout out to them, but to the crew I worked with. They were the best salespeople on the planet, the nicest people, sharp as a tack, and warm like a blanket. And I told them about this, and they were all on board. And we basically said, well, why don't we start collecting here at the store at the Coquitlam Center? And so we started collecting from a lot of our clients. And then word started going around that, hey, you know, the Bell store over there is collecting blankets, you know. And we started doing it that winter, and then the next winter we collected over 2,000 blankets. And then the following year, it got huge.
It got bigger.
Oh yeah, 15,000 blankets.
Wow.
Just over a winter.
That was over one winter.
Yeah.
The second one.
Yeah, and then I left Bell, and then I went on with working for the Canada line, which is ProTrans BC Operations Limited. And I love my company, I really do. And they've been very supportive. And right off the bat, Lee Cockrell, one of the operations director at the time, was enamored by what we were doing. And he says, is there anything that we can do as a company? And I said, you know, wouldn't it be cool if maybe we started a blanket drive on the Canada line, and we'll call it Blanket BC's Drive on the Line. Well, the Drive on the Line started, and we started collecting blankets every third week in November. Well, at first it was like only 1 or 2 stations. Now we're doing 10 stations, and we have about 200 volunteers every November. It's awesome. Is it
over a week or a weekend?
2 days.
2 days?
Yeah, this year it's on the 15th and 16th. But every third week in November, like clockwork, it's a 2-day event on a Friday and a Saturday, where we get like the business crowd, and then we get the leisure crowd, and we're just trying to collect as many blankets as we can, as well as money. We do collect monetary donations, and because we're a small nonprofit, like we work off of like. I was going to say a shoestring budget. However, our budget is more like the little toggles at the end of the shoestring. That's our budget. So whatever we get from that drive is what we have to work with for the rest of the year. And it's not fun, I will tell you. It's very, very difficult to do that, especially nowadays. Especially nowadays when people are more in need than ever before.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can see the price of everything has risen. And I think people are maybe even more and more needing a blanket, or being on the street, losing their home or their apartments, and things become more and more complicated. I think we all know about this, but we need to talk about it. I think it's very important.
100%.
And when you reach out to Tri-Cities Community Television, I went and looked about what you guys do and what's happening in there, and I was totally touched. I know we talk about often like. Mitts, like I've been approached to if I have any toques or mitts and things to give, and also blankets, but I didn't know about Blanket BC. So I thought I really wanted to have you on our segment of Tri-Cities Community Television to actually, we want people to know what you guys are doing, right? And so as an individual, as someone that lives in the Tri-Cities, what can we do to help you? I know there's donation you did mention earlier, and volunteering on those specific days. Is there any other days, or what are the other activities, or what's happening?
So right off the bat, I'd like to say that what Blanket BC does is we collect blankets and warm clothing for shelter programs and families in need. We raise awareness to homelessness, poverty, socioeconomic issues, mental health issues, and we promote volunteerism at a young age. I mean, Ben was like almost 2 years old when we started this organization, which I think still makes him the youngest founder of a nonprofit in Canadian history.
There we go.
Yeah, take that to Ottawa. And with that being said, you know, we would love to work with other organizations and other companies to put on more, not just blanket drives, but, you know, initiatives to raise awareness, you know, to let people know there's a lot of us suffering. A lot of us, especially nowadays. You could have you could be making a good living, but your rent has been jacked or your mortgage has gone through the roof. And now you're like, whoa, hold on now. Like, I live in a really nice house, but I can barely afford like the mortgage, let alone food. I'm going to have to now like maybe cut our heat. Kids, bundle up. And that's what's going on today.
Right now.
Yeah, and in Canada, it's insane. It shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening. Someone who's making 40,000, say $40 an hour, a good blue collar job, if you want to call it that, and you know your rent is say $2,000 or $2,500. After taxes, you don't have a lot to play with. You really don't. So you got to really learn how to budget. And there's a lot of people like my age that I don't know what budgeting is. My old mortgage used to be $865 a month.
Yes.
I would be like clear, no problem. We can go on vacation. Now it's like instead of taking a 3-week vacation, you're taking like a week and you're going camping. Not to say that's not bad, but if you're not used to that, it plays on you. It messes with your mind, and it hurts because you want to be able to do so much more for your kids. Right, so it's more than just the homeless. Like we're helping a lot of families. We also help with a lot of refugees that are coming into this country, whether legal or not. They're here and they're looking for help. And if they call Blanket BC, we don't say no to anybody. You could be Elon Musk, and if you ask for a blanket, I'll give you a blanket. We're not going to say no to you. Our issue is. And we have no problem getting the blankets. Our issue is storage. We really need to get more storage, free storage. Because, because storage facilities have gone through the roof, like everyone wants them now. And we used to have like 6 with a company that's now not there. And the new company took over and they're like, sorry, you got like not even a discount. So now we're with Key Self-Storage, and they've given us a huge storage space, and if need be, an extra one for like a really good discount that helps us. But we need more space, and we need more money in order to be able to pay for that. We've applied for grants.
Yes.
And I don't know if any other smaller organizations are having the same issue, but we haven't been able to get any. It sounds like you fill out these grants. And then they do a lottery. Why do we do all the work? If you're going to do a lottery in the first place.
Intensive, yes.
Yeah. So it's really tough, and it's disheartening to like say board members who hop on board. They want to make that change, and they don't see change in a year, and they're like, Greg, I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to keep doing this because it's disheartening, and so it's hard sometimes to keep members, and people will say to me, it's like, Greg, you've suffered from financial woes. It's killing you financially. Stop what you're doing. You got to take care of your family. And I get that. I do take care of my family. But this is my baby. I can't give this up. I want to be as best of a role model for my kids. And I don't want them to see their dad quit in anything. Because that would tell them that it's okay to quit. It's not okay to quit. You got to fight through stuff. I'm going to continue to fight, and because there's families out there that are suffering far greater than I am, or my family. And when I meet our street survivors, and they tell me where they were 5 years ago, and now they're on the street, that could be me. That could be my family. It could be anyone's family. So it's really important to concentrate on your family, but also do not forget that without your community, your family will fall. So we need to be a community. That's why I love the Tri-Cities. Tri-Cities, they've always had people's back, I started this here. I moved out to Mission, found a family out there, great support. Then I went to Richmond. There's some great support out there. The MLAs and the MPs, they even show up at my birthdays. I mean, it's crazy. It's a wonderful, wonderful community. We have wonderful communities here in British Columbia. We just need to help each other a little bit more, just a tiny bit more.
So how the community has responded to your initiative?
Oh, in a beautiful way. Like sport teams, the Express, Coquitlam Express. We have Blanket BC Days. You know, they're an amazing group. I'm hoping to work with the Richmond Sockeyes this year as well, and I'd like to get into, you know, like we did a big initiative with the Giants a few years back, just before COVID, before everything shut down. We had a really great initiative, and I like to continue that. And I like to work with the Whitecaps and BC Lions and Canucks. I know there's a lot of Canuck. I know there's a lot of Canuck fans, and I, as a I don't know if I've mentioned, but I do some singing, and I've done a lot of anthem singing. And when I do anthem singing, I'm wearing my Blanket BC stuff, because, you know, through my voice I can bring attention to Blanket BC, and I would love to be able to do that and have like a blanket day at the Vancouver Canucks. Wink, wink. Let's make this happen.
I think the message has been launched now, which I would be very nice to actually see you there. I'll have to go see you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Anthem, maybe
Absolutely.
also, right?
Yeah.
Now, you did talk a little bit about some of the challenges, but so what else do you face, like when it's finding the people that needs those blankets? Like, how do you find those people? Is there some challenges that comes into where do you distribute those blankets?
We take them all throughout the Lower Mainland. There's about 148 to 150 organizations that we help out throughout the year. They're all shelter programs, and they're the real heroes. All we are is a warm delivery service. You know, we're bringing warmth and hope and love, kindness, compassion from the community, and it's awesome. But the real heroes are those frontline workers, man. What they see and what they have to go through to help people, it's inspiring and it's beautiful, and it's sad, but there's so much love there as well. It's a mix of emotions, it's a big bag of emotions. Yeah, handing out blankets to the shelters where they hand them out. And we like to do it to the shelters because we want people to come off the street and seek. Sometimes they may be able to get help, right? If they're going down this like wrong path, or they're looking not right, the frontline workers will know that person, and they're like, you know, you're not feeling, you don't look very well today, so let's bring you in, let's assess you and see what we can do. So that could right there save a life, right? So it's really, really important. Now, obviously, if it's extreme weather and I happen to be out with blankets, I'll, of course, anyone who needs a blanket is going to get a blanket.
Can you share stories local to the Tri-Cities that someone needed a blanket, or you help someone, if it's shareable? I would love to have an example.
How much time have we got? About 3 hours?
We have time. Go for it.
Okay, 5 hours. Here we go. Right off the bat, there was a family of 6. It was a father. There was an older father and a mom, and then older kids, and then really young kids, and they were refugees, and they were living not in the best place. You could see mouse droppings everywhere, and it was not a very good place. They had nothing except one little bed, and it was very cold. There was like a little heater, and I'm not sure how, you know, the landlord's issue, what was going on, but when you walked in, you could still see your breath. That's how cold it was.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So I remember doing that with Ben, and even Ben looked at me. He was younger at the time. He was like 9 or 10, and he looked at me like, "Dad, this isn't right." And I go, "I know, this is not right." So we got them as, like, we brought a bunch of stuff, but not nearly as much. So we made a call to the community and said, "Hey, we need more stuff." We were able to get like beds, we were able to get more bedding. We got like really cool like jackets for the kids, and that's the community coming together, right? You know, I was part of the Tri-City Chamber of Commerce at that time, and I remember kind of making that call out. And the chamber folks were just awesome. They're like, "Yeah, hey Greg, I heard you need some jackets for kids, so I got a bunch." So that story in itself. I'll never forget that story. And then meeting, you know, folks. I know that there's a high contention about the Gordon 3030 Gordon. You know, where there is a facility there that bring people in, and then there's like camps outside, and a lot of people don't like that. Well, where else are we going to put people? We're not doing enough. People ask me all the time. It's like, well, what's your solution? Well, first off, get rid of the drugs. And I know that's a hard subject. People are like, well, hold on now. But if you go to other cultures, okay, other countries around the world that don't have any drugs, they have very little homelessness and very little mental problems. So they take people in and they treat them, sometimes forcefully. Again, that's high in contention as well. But I think it's important that if we're not doing the right thing, and we're showing for the last 8-10 years, we're not doing the right thing, it's getting worse and worse and worse, then you kind of have to roll back and say, okay, what did work? Let's do that, you know. And boy, I would love to sit down with our leaders. I would love to.
Right?
Yes, seriously. I've been trying to get in front of you know, Justin Trudeau, Pierre Poilievre, Jagmeet Singh, anybody and everybody that's a leader in the community. Sit down. I'm not going to bare bones it. I'm going to tell you flat to your face. Not in a rude way, but in a way the Canadians will be able to tell you. You know, like and if I'll cut you. Not cut you. I will cut you short if you're beating around the bush with answers, because politicians love to beat around the bush. They don't give you the right answer.
Yes.
And we're tired. Canadians are tired of listening to the BS. Stop blabbing out of your mouth. Just tell us what we want to hear and do it. Action speaks louder than words. And that's why Blanket BC has been successful, because we take action upon the requests of others. We just do it. We don't ask questions. We just get it done.
Excellent. Now, if someone wants to volunteer with you, how can they do this? Do they have a form to fill, or they just contact you? And how can they contact you? I know there's Facebook, there's different platforms. Tell us all.
Well, we're on all the platforms.
Okay.
So you can just look up Blanket BC, you'll find us. If you go to our website, which is www.blanketbc.org, there is a form to fill out on the volunteer page. So it's just blanketbc.org//volunteer. There's a form there, and you can fill out the form and say, hey, we have a truck. We want to be able to help out, pick up and deliver blankets. Or we want to help out with the Drive on the Line this year. Or we want to donate $5,000 in cash. I'm placating to the camera because that's where the audience is. And I will say thank you already in advance for just watching this amazing show. I love your show, by the way. I saw it with Alex Bell, your interview. And I love Alex. This is a big shout out to Alex. Coquitlam Crunch. He's such a great inspiration. I love the guy. And you're a great interviewer, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You really are. Canada, ET Canada? Okay. That's fantastic.
That's so nice. It's so nice. Okay. Well, I'm getting red now. Now I have to think now. Okay. I wanted to ask you, how do you measure actually the impact of Blanket BC around you?
Oh, the measurement. Well, I know our impact because of what the feedback I get from the shelters, number one. And also, often I'm recognized on the downtown east side, and I'll have people come up to me and say, hey, you're Mr. Warmth. You're that blanket guy. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, man, you gave me a blanket last year, man. It's really cool. It's a really, really cool. And like, sometimes I have my kids with me, Ben, Emma, or Zoe, and they'll turn to the kids and say, you guys are just awesome. You know,
I know, right? There's no words sometimes.
It's a great feeling to be able to do things with your kids. That's why the Drive on the Line is such a special event, because it's all ages. You could be 1 or 101
Yeah.
and still participate on the drive. And it's not hard to do.
Yeah.
You just stick around a big box and enjoy the comfort of people dropping off blankets and cash donations and just giving high fives. We'll take a high five.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing what the high five can do. Give me a high five.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
it.
the energy.
I know. So businesses that are listening to us right now and they're inspired, they want to reach out. Winter is coming. We need to talk about keeping the Canadians and especially people in the Tri-City warm, and so they can just reach you and call you, do a donation, show up, be a volunteer, talk about it. I think talking about it is so important. The words gets further, and that's how we can help you.
Absolutely.
Am I missing something?
No, I just think it's you know, if there's companies out there that want to participate, you know, give us a call. If you want to sponsor us in some way, give us a call. If you want to, like we need truck drivers for the drive of the line.
Okay.
Give us a call. You know, like we need sponsors to help make this work really well. You know, and we'll work with anyone in any capacity if it's going to help our goal of providing warmth to those in need.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay, I have one more question for you.
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
So what are their hopes? So what's the future for Blanket BC?
Well, we want to make it to our 20th year. You know, we've been doing this for 19 years come October 15th.
Born in the Tri-Cities.
Born in the Tri-Cities,
Yes.
and raised in BC, you know.
Okay.
And we've had outreach all the way out to Africa and the Middle East as well, like, and Europe. So we've had some great reach over the years. We want to be able to continue that reach, but we can't do it without the support of the community. You know, every dollar counts, and every dollar goes right into Blanket BC. This is a volunteer-based organization. Nobody gets paid at Blanket BC. Maybe for reimbursement every once in a while. But really, it's 100% to the organization that really placates the whole warmth from the heart. And I'll tell you, I was raised right by the best parents, Brian and Martha, who just celebrated their 55th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. I love you guys. And I got the best family. They've always been supportive. Little nuts, little crazy, but we all are in some way or another. And but it's really important to acknowledge. We're talking about acknowledgements of land. I want to acknowledge my family. I want to acknowledge my wife. I want to acknowledge my kids, Ben, Emma, Zoe. These are
because they're all
amazing
part of the
kids.
team, right?
They're all part of the team. They're all amazing. Everyone who's participated in Blanket BC, whether on a board or as a blanketeer. And by the way, do you know the difference between a volunteer and a blanketeer?
No, I think you will tell me, right?
Maybe for $1. Blanketeers are just so much warmer.
Oh, I like it. I love it.
I love all volunteers, but blanketeers, come on. Doesn't get any better.
Fantastic. Gregory, a big thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
It starts by a conversation. It starts by an idea, and we make it where we choose to go. And I think your time is valuable, and you will be. 20 years. We're celebrating 20 years. You have to come back next year to talk about this.
I would love to. I would love to
talk about your. Are you guys going to be doing anything special for the 20 years? Or
I'm going to put it out here. I will need sponsors.
Okay.
Okay. We want to host an amazing gala, a red tie gala, red dress. So everyone's wearing their reds and just looking absolutely stunning and beautiful. We did this for our 10-year anniversary. This is how long ago we hosted a gala.
Okay.
And I remember Phoenix Truck and Crane. They helped. They were our main sponsor for the gala back 10 years ago. We would love to do it again. So if there's anyone out there that would love to sponsor,
and that would be next year.
That would be next year. Yeah, it'll be next year. But we're already 20. That's right, 2025. Okay. Yeah, 20 years.
20 years. Yeah, you got to celebrate this.
But I'm only 29. So I started this when I was 9. My son was 2. Do the math.
Gregory, thank you again.
Genevieve, merci beaucoup.
Thank you. From the Tri-Cities Community Television and myself, Genevieve Kyle-Lefebvre, thank you so much for joining us today.